friends. I think everybody would get like an allocation of 10 friends. You had 10 slots. There's 5 of us, right? Plus my mom and dad got there. They invite their compadres and comadres, right? So, we would have a party. Those, eventually people, instead of using just 10 slots, they invited 20 people, right? And, so it would get packed, right? Every 16th of September, it was crazy. And by then, we were at, the first house we ever bought for our parents. And it's technically unincorporated East LA, but the other side of the street was Montebello. So, it looked and felt like Montebello, but it was technically East LA.
Yeah.
So we had a house there, and that's where the parties would take place, right? And Cynthia invited Leonardo to these parties, and that's how I got to know him. And that's how I met him, I think. And then he told me who he was, and then of course I knew where she was working, and I knew I needed to talk to somebody who's on the organizing side, and that's how the relationship evolved. So,
wow.
So when it was time, I was a city employee, right, the public lender, right? Maria was the project manager representative in the board. Evangeline was the legal representative and all legal matters and also kind of East LA issues that were going on.
Yeah.
From the legal side. And then Leonardo was the community organizing representative of the group.
That is a dream team. I honestly,
yeah.
That's a dream team.
Yeah, and it was a pretty good team, right? And we had other people come and go, right? But those were the core initial 4.
Yeah.
And I think again it allowed us to move the ball forward.
Yeah.
To the point where we incorporated.
What were if you remember the key goals of the org amongst you 4 that you agreed on, at the beginning?
Yeah, so I think we all agreed that first of all, that Teleco was never going to do anything that benefited the families that we wanted to benefit, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, well, not so much that they were the devil, but let's just not even consider them as being part of the fix or the fix that we want to have. And we actually, on that topic, we all agree that one of the things that we disliked about Teleco, it seemed to be like this kind of family inbred operation, right? And that it didn't allow for new leadership to kind of grow within organizations and manage them.
Yeah.
So we all agree that that's not what we wanted, that we wanted we wanted ELAC to be like a breeding ground for leadership, right? That none of us wanted to be there forever. And that we needed that, and that conversely, we wanted it to be a place where people can come and grow, and then just maybe not leave, but that sounds too simple. But more like it couldn't be somebody's lifetime, personal little kingdom, right? That's not what we wanted. Anyway, so what I think I think we all agreed that the neighborhood needed an organization that could provide needed services, right? And on the table were everything, but the expertise around the table was on the housing side and community organizing side, right? So why don't we start there, right? The community needs a lot of everything, lots of disinvestment, lots of gang issues, lots of that's when, again, as part of the conversation, what I thought was normal is just, I think that they're the ones that help me see that this really isn't normal, right? This is it's not what we want it to be. So I was kind of bursting out of my own bubble and kind of seeing a bigger picture. So those conversations led to, we need a lot, right? I mean, there's, the streets, are dirty. We need to organize people to become more active and in improving their lives and so on and so forth, right? So we're agreed on that. what we didn't agree on and took us forever was that what was going to drive the organization. Was it going to be the community organizing side, or was it going to be development? It was a philosophical conversation that took us 3 years to resolve. Wow. And in the end, it wasn't resolved, right? Are we going to organize people, right, and have these people tell us what development to do, or are we going to use development as a way of bringing people together, and have them, the ones that are together, we can organize them into having further impact in their neighborhoods, right? And then we went back and forth, right? We didn't meet every day, right? But it did kind of lag the actual incorporation because we couldn't settle. Then magic happened, right? And I think maybe I was just frustrated, and I just wanted to move forward because I saw all these things happening around me, right? I said, we got to do something. You guys just can't sit there forever. So I came up with a compromise, and I said, the reality is that both things are going to happen. In some instances, we're going to develop relationships with community members, and we're going to have a strategy to organize them, whether it's on a block by block or issue by issue basis, whatever it is. And in some cases, they're going to tell us, hey, there's this abandoned lot over here. Hey, you guys need to do something and fix it, right? So we'll get direction from them on housing, on some of the housing, but they'll have other issues to deal with, whether it's crime or, the sidewalks or whatever they want to focus on, that whatever brings them together, that's what they'll do. Right. Telling us to improve housing and vacant lots is maybe just one of them. Right? So the housing was going to come this way is going to develop that way. And we're not stupid, right? We know that a vacant lot creates problems for people. We know that housing needs to be built for low-income families. So we know where the zoning is, right? So we could say, hey, there's this property over here that is properly zoned, that is big enough, and we have funding over here from the city or from the state or wherever that we can get to build this housing. Why don't we do the housing? Let's just go ahead and do it. It doesn't break any laws. It's in line with building code, and we can craft the affordability levels to meet the community's needs. And then, bring that to a group and say, okay, how about this? And we'll tweak it and then move forward. So we'll drive housing that way. Yeah. So the reality is both things are going to happen, right? That we're going to have housers that are going to be driving housing projects, and facilitating community organizing. And we're going to have organizers that strengthen people. And as part of that, they're going to provide input on what kind of housing to develop and where to do it. And together that's how the work is going to take place. That was the compromise. Yeah. Well, and with one additional very important, highly, sometimes, forgotten detail. And that is that, by the nature of their focus, right, these two forces they kind of work in opposites. They work against each other. Yeah. One is building people and one is building buildings, right? One is working with capital. One is working with people and improving their brain. Right. How do you balance? And there's the potential for there to be conflict between the two is incredibly high. Right. Right. So those two forces, those two, kind of efforts, programs inside one house, that's powerful. Right? It'll make us stand out like any other organization, but they need to be managed, right? Because they're going to create conflict internally, and they need to be managed because it can completely disrupt the organization, right? Right. And everybody said, okay, that's fine. That makes sense. It's better than just kind of sitting around talking philosophically for another 3 years, right? So that was the compromise. And pretty soon after we reached that, we filed our papers and incorporated.
Wow. That's